Hello, if you are an English learner living in North America and you would like to improve your pronunciation, reduce your foreign accent, and have more of an American accent, you are in the right place. So, my name is Jessie. I'm an American accent coach living in Canada, and that's what I help English learners do. So, we're going to start off with some announcements really quick. So, we will get into the Q&A section right away. So, of course, if you have a question for me that you would like me to answer in regards to pronunciation, accent reduction, all that kind of stuff, there's a form down below. So if you're watching the replay and you were unable to be live with us to ask question, go down the description of Facebook or YouTube, wherever you're watching this, except TikTok, and you'll be able to ask your question. Then after I answer the question, I will send you an email saying I've answered your question and send the replay. Next, also, if you want to improve your pronunciation, improve your accent faster, and make permanent and lasting changes in your accent, and you would like my free guide, comment top tips in the comments of Facebook or YouTube, and I will share with you how to get that. And just the last thing I'm going to say, if you are interested in identifying what sounds off about your accent, improving your accent, and doing an accent boot camp with me and 4 other people, it's a 5-week accent boot camp program starting on October 13th. Comment boot camp, and I'll share with you how to get in. All right, so I'm going to just check out the comments. Feel free to say where you're tuning in from. And yeah, I'll answer. All right, so I see a lot of hellos. Hello, hello, hello. And then I see something. Oh, how are you? I'm doing good. Thank you. How are you? And then I see hola canadiense. And canadiense is Canadian. So hello. Can you hear me on TikTok? I see some messages or one message of someone saying that they cannot hear me. Got a question here. Do you offer private lessons? So I don't offer private conversation lessons, but I do offer private accent coaching. Um, so you can definitely check out my website. However, I really recommend getting into the group program. So I have a 5-week accent program where if you are living in North America and you're constantly being asked, where are you from? Or you can tell that people need to concentrate in order to understand you because something with your pronunciation or your accent isn't quite right. This is the perfect program for you because we start off with me giving you a one-on-one accent assessment where I assess your accent. I get to know your personal accent. And then I look at the goals that we could work on during the 5 weeks and also different sounds you can work on after the 5 weeks. So during these 5 weeks, I will, I guess, like help you see what's off, give tools and techniques to be more efficient in your accent reduction journey. Because it's so easy to spend months and years trying to improve our accent when it can be done the same changes. I'm not going to say the whole thing because it takes a long time, but same changes can be done in weeks or months, depending on what's going on. So I do offer that. Check out my link in bio or check out in the description if you're here on YouTube and Facebook. What do you mind? I'm not really sure if I understand your question, Peter White. I'm sorry. What do you mind BMW? Not really sure what you mean. Hi, Charlie Waffles. Hello, Steve. Hi, I'm studying because I have an interview. That's exciting. That's exciting. Do you live in the United States, Peter? Is your interview in English? So Zach said hi. Hello. This is something that he actually said before I went live. And then good morning, my teacher. Good morning. I'm happy to see you again. Someone said, why did you reply to the message I sent you? Did or didn't? Sorry, I'm not really sure. I have interviews about refinery. So you wanna work in refinery? That is really cool. Really cool. What's the best pronunciation? Oh, what is the best pronunciation? American, England, or English, or Indian? Um, I can't say one is better than the other, but I do have a general American accent. I'm Canadian, so personally that's what I have. But I don't think it's fair to say one is better than the other. Um, but then your question is, what is the best pronunciation that you recommend? Um, I would say, where are you living and where are you working? So, for example, I really find that the English accent is elegant and the Australian accent is exotic, but I'm not gonna learn it because it's harder for people to understand if they live in North America. You know what I mean? So I would say if you plan on moving to the United States, or Canada, the North American accent could be a good accent to learn. If you're going to move to, let's say, the UK accent might be my best recommendation for you. So it really depends on your needs, where you live, where you're going to live, and whatnot. Okay. So someone said, could you give me your email? I don't have Facebook. If you have business questions, you can send an email to Jessie at americanaccenttrainingwithjess.com. Um, or you can also send me a DM on Instagram, a private message. That is possible as well. Um, but honestly, all my offerings are on my website, so feel free to check it out. It's American Accent Training with Jess.com. That is my website. I'm sure most of your questions will be answered on there. All right, now we're going to go to the questions. You say America is more elegant. I don't know, something about, the Queen's English. I know she's not alive anymore, but whenever I think of the UK, I'm like the Queen's English. It's so elegant. All right, jumping to the first question. This is a good one. Can I improve my accent if I'm already fluent in English? This is a good question because some people will say, well, I've already learned English, so can I change or improve my accent? Um, yes, but so there's something that happens when you are learning a language. You're at the beginner level and then you're at the intermediate level and the advanced level. Once you hit about the intermediate level, there's something called fossilization that happens. If you think of what a fossil is, it's like, the like I guess animals from the past, like for example, like different bugs, they'll turn into roots, they'll turn into fossils. Um, so once we hit the intermediate level in a language, in this circumstance, we're going to say English, your habits, your pronunciation habits, your grammatical habits, it starts to fossilize and be more rigid. So if you have learned English, let's say from a teacher who has a thicker accent, a different accent than what you want, and you adopt that as your own accent, it's going to be a habit, especially at the intermediate and above level. So in order to undo that, it's going to take more work, more intentional practice that you're really targeting the new sounds that you want to replace. It's going to be more work than if you were just learning English at a beginner to intermediate level with somebody who has the correct pronunciation, let's say, and somebody who gives you feedback and helps you to correct your pronunciation. Same with a grammatical mistake. If you're learning English and you're a beginner to an intermediate level, um, it's if you have a teacher or a coach that corrects you and gives you feedback, oh no, we don't say I have 20 years. It's I am 20. I am 20 years old. So if you have someone to give you constant feedback, so by the time you get to the intermediate level, you're able to correct yourself or you're able to correct those mistakes and you start to, say it correctly, it's going to be easier. But once you get to the intermediate level, you're really going to have to work harder to reinforce those habits and replace those bad patterns or the incorrect patterns, the patterns you don't want with the correct ones, the desired patterns. And those patterns, like I mentioned, they can be pronunciation with certain sounds. It could be like it could be grammar. And then it could also be like other aspects related to your accent, so maybe intonation of them. So you can still, once you hit the intermediate level, but it will take more work to undo and replace those habits. I hope that helps. And of course, I'm going to be looking down here on Facebook and YouTube first for questions, and then I'll check TikTok. But as always, I'm going to say if you want to improve your accent faster and lasting and more permanent changes into with your accent to your accent, comment top tips to get my free guide so you can improve your accent faster. It's a gift from me to you. So if you follow me and you want to learn more, comment top tips for more. All right, let's check out the comments. And the top tip is more for Facebook and YouTube because I don't know how to do it on TikTok. All right. Hello, and hi. People saying hello. Tell me where you guys are from. I'm super curious. Mm-mm. All right, I'm gonna get caught up with the questions. I'm 22 messages behind. So Peter says, I plan to work in Canada and I'm interested in further strengthening my English, improving my English. Okay. Yeah. I don't know if you've checked my YouTube yet, but American Accent Training with Jess. If you click on my channel and then playlists, you'll see that there are a lot of different playlist options. So I'm just going to get that right here, down here, but there are different playlists. So for example, if you make mistakes in English, I have a common English mistakes playlist, and then I have a speak like an American / Canadian in English. I have all connected speech practice, accent reduction tip, advice. So go to my YouTube channel, American Accent Training with Jess. Click on my playlist. Depending on what your current English goals are, pick whatever makes sense for you. I love the American accent, Alexander says. I love that. I love that you love that. All right, Val says, usually I can't stop thinking in my native language. I don't know the situation if you live in, Canada, the United States, or if you live in a country that speaks your native language. But I did do a TikTok recently. I think it's like the second or third last TikTok where I share how to think in English, even if you don't live in an English-speaking country. You should check it out. But it takes time. But if you expose yourself enough to English each day, you'll start to think a little more in English, and it's really cool. And hola, Ivan. My accent is my part of my identity. Should I worry to fit into someone's way of speaking? Peter, that's a really good question. I don't think anyone should feel like they have to get rid of their accent. I want to be clear about that. My job is an accent coach, so a lot of my clients have the desire to change their accent to speak more like American or Canadian. So when people want that, I will help them, but I will not tell someone that they should change their accent. I think there's something very unique and like it's a part of who you are. Like it could, it's it's cool to have an accent. You know what I mean? So I don't think anyone should feel like they'd have to change it. However, what I would suggest is to make sure that you speak in a way that you are understood. So I think whether or not you want to have a native like accent, like American accent, I think your goal should be to be able to speak clearly, to be understood. I think that's important. But I don't think you should feel like you have to change your accent if you feel like, oh, I'm going to lose my identity. I don't I personally don't feel like okay, let's back up. I live in my second language. Okay. I'm an English speaker. I live in French. I want to have more of Quebec accent. I personally don't feel like I'm gonna lose my identity, so I'm okay with it. That's what I want. But if I felt like, oh, I wanna keep, what keeps me unique, I wanna kinda makes you feel exotic, having an accent, keep it. But I would say make sure that people can understand you because it is important in day-to-day life. I hope it helps. So RH says, "How are you, teacher?" I'm doing well, thank you. How are you? Um, Jose says, "Hello. Hello, friend. Living in Portugal from Turkey." I love that. And Retina to learn Portuguese. That is so cool. That's so cool. I love hearing different people's journeys, where they're living, what languages they're learning. Good morning, Nordish. Hello from Ukraine. Oksana, привіт. Привіт, привіт. Hi. Um, so Freddie says having an American accent is important because it builds confidence in customers. I work with foreigners. You know what, Freddie? It's such a delicate thing. I know sometimes people get upset with my videos, but um, it's delicate because it's with Peter that mentioned, it's part of my identity. I don't want to lose it. Don't feel like you need to fit in. Embrace it. You know what I mean? But if you want to, change it, you're allowed to. You're allowed to desire and want what you want. Um, and technically, people are not supposed to, as let's say you're looking for a job, people technically are not supposed to discriminate based on, your accent or whatnot. Um, I feel like, 'cause I live in my second language, I do feel like because I do have an accent in my second language, I feel like it does hold me back. Um, and like Freddie had mentioned, having more of an American accent, it can build more trust, confidence, and customers in, you know, but it's kind of it's a very delicate topic because people will say, well, it's something to be inclusive. Yes, it is. But I also understand, I learn my second language. I know the struggles. As much people say it doesn't make a difference, I sometimes think it does. But having an accent is nice too. You have to find out what's right for you and what you're good about. But as long as you're understood, I think that's what's important. So Sarah says, I'm a newcomer and I really want to be fluent in English to get jobs. Practice. Practice. You got this. It's a marathon, but you can do it. All right. So another comment here on Facebook. Language in general is consolidated. Um, if a student wants to practice the language with people, how can you find them? Okay. Yeah, it's important to have daily practice, watching movies, listening to, let's say, podcast English. That's really going to help you to get the input in English. It's also going to help you if you surround yourself English enough to start thinking in English. Going to start seeing patterns, whether like grammatical patterns or how things, words work together. It's just your brain is going to be able to take that in. If you ever are watching a movie and there's words that you don't understand or there's new word, the context might help you learn that, or you might be able to look it up. So it's really good to practice, you know, through movies, explaining yourself to English. However, your last question, the last part, if student wants to practice the language with people, how can he find them, especially if he lives in a country where there's no foreigners? Really good question. In a lot of cities, I think you'd be surprised to know there are a lot of, language groups, language exchange groups where people will go, will share their languages. Might be an English exchange group, but it might also be a language exchange group. I think when people look, you can look at Facebook, you can look on meetup.com. You might find that there are groups in your city where people go to practice different languages. That's one way. A second way is also on apps, different apps that you can find other people who are learning your language. So you're learning English and they're learning your language. So you can have language partners. That's another way. Um, the third one, which I really like, because I feel like with finding language partners, it takes a lot of energy and time, and not everyone wants the same thing. So, you end up like trying to schedule a time with them. Sometimes they come, sometimes they don't. They don't always give you feedback or whatever. I personally like my third option is this app that I use. It's an AI language partner app. So I used it a little bit in my French, but mostly in my Spanish and a little bit in Ukrainian. So you can get this app, you can talk, you can switch to English, and then you put on the setting function where it gives you feedback. So you speak to it and it will respond back to you. And it's fun because they're all available and it's it's it corrects you. Like you get feedback right away, which is really helpful. So those are some ideas. I'm hoping that helps. But it's not easy. And sometimes it's hard to depend on people to, have, to like help each other learn each other's languages because, people are busy, time zones and everything. All right. Hello from Bangkok. Hello. Doug, much appreciated. Just spot on. Good job. Thank you. Hello, Ian E. But they do. Soy Rino Ringo. I think you might have been commenting or commenting about how I said it. No, it does make a difference. As long as I'm being understood and making money. Mhm. I mean, everyone has their own, like, priorities when it comes to pronunciation and accent. Like I mentioned in my last live, in my second language, I want to speak like a native, right? I'm working towards it. In my third language, which is Spanish, I'm kind of okay with having a little bit of an accent, you know? Feel a little exotic, but might eventually try to get a Mexican accent. So, you have to decide what you want. And you're welcome, Val. All right, when does your next 12-week accent pro coaching start? Okay, so that one is it the pro? I'm trying to think to the VIP one. I can start whenever people want. If it's the one-on-one program, when people buy, I'm ready to start. It is a higher price tag, so it's 4,000 or 10,000, depending on which one you're talking about. That's why I do recommend my group coaching program. So my group coaching program is a lot more affordable, and I have 5 to 7 people. My next group coaching program is going to be starting October 13th. So if you're interested, honestly, I'm really excited for it. Let me know if you have any questions about the group coaching program. That's 5 weeks. It's a 5-week accent boot camp. So start with a one-on-one accent assessment where I really get to know your personal accent, your personal needs, and then I will highlight which sounds and which aspects should be to work on next. And then we work on it throughout the 5 weeks, and then I give you techniques and tools so that you can continue to be efficient in your accent reduction journey after the 5 weeks. And then if you want to do it again, do it again. But yeah, something to think about. Good morning, Josue. Is it Josue or Josue? Galileo Hernandez. I would like to learn more English, also French as well. Do you live in Quebec? Is that one? And I see we have somebody from Bangladesh. Sorry, Bangladesh. Have you ever eaten Thai food? I think I have. Yep, I have, but in a Canadian in Canada. So I don't know how true to like authentic it is, but yeah, I have. I love Asian food, like Thai food, Japanese food. Mm, I do. Hello, hola Paco. Hi, Samari. I'm good. How are you? All right, I'm gonna go down at the end to see if there's any more. ¿Hablas español? Sí, hablo español, pero solamente un poquito. Josue Galileo Hernandez says, "Can you send me the information to my email, please?" Um, You can go check out the website. I think that might be easier because I'm not really sure which information you want, but American Accent Training with Jess.com. So you go there, you can check out all the information, whichever one you want. So American Accent Training with Jess.com. Hola, awesome. Yes, Gatineau. Yeah. Gatineau, there's a lot of people that speak English and French, hey? And yeah, Gatineau. That's cool. I love it. It's in, it's in Quebec, but it's on the border of Ontario. Hi from Toronto. I'm Wally. Amazing, amazing. You're very welcome for the information. And hola, hola Marco. All right, next question I'm going to be answering. Okay. I do see some more questions, so I'll answer just before. How can I move forward with my B1 level to C1? I can't find the best way. It's so hard. So to be honest, I am not a teacher in the traditional sense because I don't really work on, like A level, B level, C levels. Um, I don't really have any recommendations for you. I mean, you might want to check out different YouTube videos, maybe ChatGPT, but I really don't know. I know that there's some. I know that there's some programs that are focused on that, but personally, that is not really my niche or my domain. But I will say also, I don't know if it's always a good thing to go. It's a good thing to go to his level if that's what you want, but sometimes it might be more important just to focus on your profession, like the vocabulary around your profession, rather than just trying to get a C1. I don't know if that helps, but I think if you want it for professional reasons, sometimes just, really expanding your vocabulary for your career could be also a good move. And then hello from Moncton, New Brunswick. Amazing. Irinara Marco. Mhm. Learning English. Amazing. Amazing. Okay, sheepy. What is your first language? Because I see your question, but I want to know what your first language is before I answer. So I have a how do you pronounce something? Because when someone does not know how to pronounce thing or has trouble with it, it's usually because there's something that is different in those words than sounds that exist in their first language. Oh, oh, I don't know. I don't know for Hungarians. I don't really know. That's a good question, but I will say it for you. I don't know what sounds exist in Hungarian. But we'll do this anyways. So I don't know if this is problematic with Hungarians, but your teeth are going to be on your lip. I exaggerate when I teach. So, and then Hungarians, if you guys are like, if you guys are like a lot of other, I'm thinking like Ukrainian, Romanian, you might have like the trilled R. So it's the American R. Very, very. And then rarely. And we don't rarely. No, we don't. So it's rarely. And if you speak an Asian language as a first language, uh, with the L, your tongue is there. And then for the R, it's rarely. So very rarely. Very rarely. I very rarely drink alcohol. Very rarely. Very rarely. Alright, I'm hoping that helps. I'm sorry, I'm not super familiar with people who speak Hungarian as a first language, but that's something I should look. I usually do a lot more, like, um, research into different languages once I have clients that speak that language. So, Hungarian, I haven't helped a Hungarian yet. Español. Wait. Hi, everyone. Hi, Luna. When I read, I understand, but when listening, I get lost. I get lost sometimes. I'm actually going to type into my questions. I'm going to answer that question, but I'm going to make it appear on my YouTube. When I read, I understand, but when listening, I get lost. Get lost sometimes. Mm, I don't know why Grammarly is correcting me. When oh, there we go. Drop the comma. When I read, understand, listening, sometimes. Right. This question, I love it. I love it. I really love it because I am making a course. Because as you know, I'm doing a 5-week accent boot camp. There's 5 places, 4 left. I'm starting that in on October 13th. While I'm doing the boot camp, I'm building 2 or 3 resources for students that are in my boot camp, but then I also might sell it later for people who are interested. And one of the courses is called Connected Speech Secrets. Okay, so you understand when you read, but when listening, like native speak, you get lost sometimes. It's hard to understand. I think this is because connected speech and different phenomenon that happen when when a native speaker speaks English, because words pronounced separately versus in a sentence, it can change. Okay. Um, and I'm sorry, I don't think phenomenons is correct, but know that native speakers make grammatical mistakes, but they're different from the grammatical mistakes that learners make. Okay. Mhm. I am giving you an example right now. Okay. Let's look at this reading. Okay, you probably understand it. I'm going to say it individually, each word, and then I'm going to say it how you might hear it. So instead of it being I want you to tell him with the H, you might hear you might hear I want you to tell him. I want you to tell him. This is because the T, when there's a T sound at the end of a word, the next one is a Y, it could turn into a CH sound. So I want you. Trying to think of something else. It's turning into something else. This is not the same, but it's similar. I need you. A D plus a Y. I talk about this on my YouTube channel. Can turn into a J sound. So if someone says, I need you to tell them, it's going to be need you, right? You could need you, but very often you'll hear native speakers need you. And then want, you might hear want. It's like a glottal stop here. You want you, but you might also hear want you. So sounds will change. Sometimes they will disappear. Sometimes they will transform into something new, like want you instead of want you. Sometimes Yeah, there's different things that can happen, but I think that is why a lot of English learners say, "I understand my teacher in English class, but I don't understand native speakers when they speak fast." I don't think they speak fast. I think they mix it together. They change the sounds. The "to" turns to "tuh," "tell him," the H kinda we lose it, and then the tell 'em turns to that. So I think that's why. I'm trying to think of another example. This is a really common one. I think I always say, um, so for example, "Did you eat?" Right? "Did you eat?" Did the D and Y, it could be "Did you?" "Did you?" It could actually be "Did ya?" "Did ya?" And you might even drop it and say, "Ja eat?" So that's probably why it is difficult to understand English speakers, but you can read. So you might hear, "Did you eat?" You might hear, "Did you eat?" You might hear, "Did you eat?" You might hear, "Jay eat today? Did you eat breakfast?" Right? Ooh, this is hard. So I really think that is why sometimes it's difficult. And that's what I'm hoping to help English learners learn and practice in my in progress course called Connected Speech Secrets. So this will help English learners, one, if they have trouble understanding, if they have trouble understanding native speakers, they'll be able to say, "Oh, that's why." And then two, once they want to be able to speak more like a native speaker, let's say they've already mastered a lot of the pronunciation, like a lot of the sounds in American English, but something isn't quite there. That could be why. All right, because they might feel too robotic or too formal, right? And again, just a quick reminder, if you want to learn how to improve your accent faster and make lasting permanent changes to your accent, comment top tips and get my guide. I will share how to get that free guide when you comment that. Um, have you ever eaten Thai food? Thanks so much. You're very welcome. And I'm good. How are you? And be wrong. Is that French? Jean David. Jean Daniel. Sorry, Jean Daniel. I'm happy to be here. I'm so happy you're here as well. You're excellent. Thank you. I'm in Columbia City, but I need to improve my English. Tito, check out my YouTube channel if you want to improve your English. I need to check it out. American Accent Training with Jess on YouTube. I repeat, American Accent Training with Jess on YouTube. Click playlists, and there are many different playlists. I categorize my videos into different themes depending on what your needs are in English. So, for example, there are some people who want to work on English mistakes. I have a common English mistakes playlist. If you want pronunciation help, I have a Speak Like an American / Canadian playlist. I have an accent reduction tips playlist. Check out my YouTube channel. I have a playlist, American Accent Training with Jess. I'm always encouraging that because I think it's so good. So in the beginning, I had trouble transitioning the R to the odd voice TH, like where 3. It just takes practice, but yeah, earth. Yeah, it's when you have trouble with something, if you just practice over and over again and get feedback, that's where the magic happens. That's where you learn to pronounce something and then you make it a habit and it becomes a part of your accent. Do you teach pronunciation? Yes. Well, I'm an accent coach. That's my thing. I'm not a teacher. A lot of people call me a teacher, and that's okay. I understand, but I'm not really a teacher. I am an accent coach. So That's what I basically focus on. Mm, mm, mm. And I'm touching my phone, and it is really hot. Hamza, you're very welcome. You're very welcome, Andres. Farzad, how much? I don't know if I should answer on here because it's gonna go up. I think you mean the accent boot camp, right? So I'm going to share this with TikTok. I'm not going to share it with YouTube because it is recorded. So like I mentioned, my one-on-one coaching right now it's $4,000 or $10,000 for 12 weeks. Okay, I don't expect people to want it. I want people to get into my group coaching program. It's a lot more affordable. And I accept 5 to 7 people per round, per group, but I'm only accepting 5 this time because I really want to be able to help you and make sure you have the transformation. So this is the price for now. Okay. Very, very affordable. Um, I, I'm told I should be tripling and or quadrupling the price that it is now. And if you want to know YouTube and Facebook, you can check it out by going to my website. Um, American Accent Training with Jess.com. I just don't want to mention it on the recording because I don't want people to compare. It is low right now for a reason because I'm starting it up. I want to make sure I get a lot of people having accent transformations, and it's my start price. Okay, it's gonna go up. It's gonna triple. Yeah. What you fin? What you fin? Cool. Annabelle says, "What does it mean? What you fin do to?" Oh, I think I know what you. I think somebody mistyped it. I don't know if you mistyped it or if somebody mistyped it and you're just reading it. Um, mm, what do you and I'll share with you how this happens. So I was asked, what does this mean? I really think that that is this a driving marker? I really think that this should be gonna. Okay, I think it's just a mistake. Like I feel like this marker is not gonna come off. I think it means gonna type. So this here, what you is what are you? Okay. What you is short for what are you? But we're in the R. So what you gonna do? It should be what you're gonna do. What are you going to? But I think that's what. Wait, let me just get my brain together. What you gonna do to? Yeah, because sometimes we'll say, "What are you doing?" What do just forget it. I'll tell you what it means instead of explaining why. So it means, what are you going to? So gonna is short for going to. What are you going to do today? What you gonna do today? What you? What are you? What you? What are you? Could be whatcha as well. So if I want to say, what do you think? What you think? What you thinking? What are you thinking? What you thinking? What you thinking about? Right? Good question. Hello, do you have any advice for interviews? Interviews like job interviews? Um, it depends. I'm wondering if you're asking because of one, your accent and pronunciation, or if you're asking because like, what are some tips? Because everyone gets nervous, even if it's their first language. Um, Either way, I would say practice. I think it's really good to imagine ooh, my sticker. I would say imagine and try to, like, guess which questions they will ask you. Because generally speaking, they're pretty much the same questions all the time. You can play with GPT, you can play with whatever, say, you know, what are some is this a good way of like, formulate my sentences? I know when I go for interviews, I usually look up the interview questions. Then I think about, okay, for this job, I think this would be really good to say this, that, so that I'm prepared. Um, yeah, I I know I hate interviews. I've been trying to look for a job for a few years, and now I'm just doing this because I'm like, you know what? I like helping English learners improve the pronunciation, and you know, if they want to improve their American accent, I like helping people do that. Um, because you know, I've applied for um, jobs to be an English teacher, like in language schools, and I have to like teach grammar and things that I think are really boring. Plus, they don't even really pay you. So, yeah, I mean, they pay you, but I'd make just as much as if I worked at McDonald's, like my niece. So good morning. It's good. How are you? And I see some comments on on YouTube. Okay. Hola, teacher. Buen día. No sé mucho inglés, no problema. Tengo muchos videos en mi canal YouTube por ayudarte. Pero gracias por tu esfuerzo para que aprendamos. De nada. Un saludo desde Ciudad México. Nada. Gracias por tu comente, your message. Okay. What's your major? I don't really have a major. I mean, I originally studied to be a French teacher. I ended up not finishing that degree and finished a different one. But I did a multidisciplinary degree, so it's really like I didn't really major in anything, if that makes sense. But I have a focus on a lot of languages. So I guess a language focus. Hi, teacher. Hello. Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? I don't know if I should sing that. I hope I don't get copyright. Yes, exactly. You've watched that. That's connected speech. What are you gonna do? What you gonna do? Like, just when I was singing and I was like, maybe I shouldn't. I want to learn English with you, but don't have the money. I have a lot of free YouTube playlists for that. So check out my YouTube channel, like I mentioned. American Accent Training with Jess. I have so many free lessons. So if you don't have money, there we go. Um, and hi, Leonard K here, Radio DJ Canada. I'm gonna look you up because I'm really curious now. If somebody self-promoting, but at the same time, I love getting to know people. And I'm really into like voice stuff, so that's awesome. So which part of Canada are you from? I am from Saskatchewan. It's an English province, and I live in the French part of Canada. So it's Quebec, as I say in French, but Quebec. English person will say that. All right. I got a question. Ooh, I should actually write this. I'm gonna write this. Oops. When I get good questions, I mean, there's a lot of good questions that I did put up here, but certain questions I like to make a banner for. Um, does my English level have to be advanced to get the full benefit of your group coaching? I'm going to say accent group coaching program. So does my English level have to be advanced to get the benefit of your am I typing that out right? Does my English level have to be advanced to get the full benefit of your accent and group coaching program? Okay, there we go. Okay, so question on TikTok here. Does my English level have to be advanced to get the full benefit of your accent group coaching program? I would say if you are able to have a conversation in English, I'd say intermediate to advanced, that would be a good idea. If, however, you struggle with keeping a conversation, I wouldn't suggest it. It's because I want you to really have transformation. If you use English in your day-to-day life, ideally, especially during this program, and if it's just practicing, and you have a conversational level of English, that's all you need to be in my group coaching program. In fact, sometimes having a low to medium intermediate level, you might see more results than if your English is already advanced. It's more specifically if your accent is like, let's say, you have an advanced level of English and your accent is really good, you'll see less results in my 5-week program than if you have a lower level of English, like intermediate, and you have thick accent. Because man, I really need to print this out because this is something that I bring out every time. I'm gonna make a little graph for you guys to demonstrate why I say this. I also have a blog post talking about this because I think it's such an important thing. There we go. Okay. So I have a graph here. This represents time. Okay. This represents your accent. So this is really thick. So maybe when you speak, it's difficult for people to understand you. And then on the top here, this is getting your, I'm going to say close to native accent. Okay. If I'm trying to make sure I show up on TikTok and YouTube, if you come see me and your accent is pretty thick, in the 5 weeks, you're going to see a lot more results than if you have an almost perfect accent. Because in your accent reduction journey, I use this example for like Spanish speakers, for example. They'll mix the J and the Y, right? So they'll say yesy for me instead of Jesse. They might yes when they mean yes. So that's a sound that could be really, if you haven't mastered it, it's kind of hard to understand you. So if we just fix 1 or 2 sounds, boom, your accent changes so much with just 1 or 2 little changes, which are big, create like a huge difference. Whereas once you start sounding more and more native, your progress naturally going to be slower. You're going to have to work harder to make improvements. So to answer your question, no, you don't need to be advanced. In fact, I think the people who are going to experience the most transformation, of course, are going to be the people who decide, yes, I'm going to take Jessie's feedback. I'm going to practice the pronunciation exercises she gives me 5 to 15 minutes a day. Those people are going to see a lot more results. But within those people, the people who decide that like, or sorry, not decide, people who have like a thicker accent because there's little changes are going to make big differences in their accent. Hoping that makes sense. So, intermediate to advanced. And Anna says places in the US use finna. What? If this is like really just young slang, I don't know, but I'm a millennial. Was born in the 90s. I have no idea what that means. I don't know if you live in Halifax, Leonard, but I've lived there in the past. All right. This one says, "Good morning. Do you have private classes? I have private accent training, one-on-ones. You could check on my website. However, the most affordable option to work with me would be group coaching. My 5 group coaching, it starts on October 13th. All right. I see Comentario. Okay, there it is. I see I am 41 minutes, 41 messages behind. I don't know how I practice. I need people to talk with, but I can't find those people. You can see if there's language groups in your city, a language partner with the language app, or you can get an AI language partner to practice with. 32 messages behind. Okay, I cannot keep a conversation. I understand almost everything. I would say work to the level of being able to have a conversation before you get into my accent coaching if you really want to the benefits. And because I don't want people to just like get it for me to make a sale. I want people to be be ready to have transformation in their accent. Hi from Mexico. Hello. Um, and someone said, how much is it? I'm just going to show TikTok group coaching because it's going to be doubling, tripling, and then quadruple. So, check out my website. Yes. Do you work in a school or any institution? No, I work for myself because people, it's so hard to find a job right now. All right. I think I'm going to answer one more question. Hello, teacher. Thank you. Hello, you're very welcome. And hi, Ms. And to see. Yeah, I already answered that question. Quick question. Why do people in Canada or the USA sometimes not understand me, even though people in my country understand me when I speak English? So it's a good question. I'm guessing, I mean, this could be, it depends on your circumstance, depends on your situation and where you are living. It's going to be different depending on where you live. But I will say it's very possible that because of your accent, like for example, say English is a first language in your country. It might be Australian or like an Australian English. Then sometimes I find it difficult to understand people from Australia, especially when they're talking among themselves. So it could be just a question of accent and slang. However, I think most people who ask the question, it's because they speak English in their country of origin, but English is not first language. I'm kind of thinking of like people in India, people in the Philippines. They have an accent and sometimes grammatically as well. They don't really follow grammatical rules like to a T, or like a native speaker in the United States might. So it could be your accent, could be grammar. Even when people pronounce things correctly and the way they stress, like put stress in certain words in a sentence, it can also sound different to a native speaker in Canada or the United States. So it's probably because of that. So it's a case by case basis. But if you ever want to get feedback, I would say check in with a native speaker in Canada or the US and or an accent coach to give you more clarity on that. And again, if you want to improve your accent faster and lasting permanent changes to your accent, comment tips if you like my free guide and I will send that to you. Hello, Ahmed and Fatima. Um, mm, mm, because they think in their language, if you think like Canadian, they will understand you. That could be it too. I know there's people who have learned English in school, but their accent is pretty thick and different. Um, I don't know if I want to get too too into detail, but it could be accent, could be the pronunciation. Um, yeah. You mean a bold, strong accent. Yeah. Thick accent could be a strong accent. All right. So I don't see any more questions on Facebook, on YouTube. And again, if you guys are interested in joining my group coaching program, know that there are still spots open for my program starting on October 13th. If you're watching later, check out my website and you can see if there are any spots in the upcoming program. So take care. If you're watching the replay, a video should be popping up here. Take care. Thanks for everyone who stopped by. And bye.